the day I turned my finance around was the day I decided to pick up my bank statements and go through it. And eventually, I saw that I was making money, but I had a major issue. Even though I studied economics, even though a chartered accountant, yet wasting money. And it was because I went through my bank statements. I took an inventory of my bank statements, of the finances that has come into my hand, and I noticed that money was coming in, but the same way it was coming in, that's the same way it was flowing out. It was more or less like a basket. And I need to say this, it is not the people in your village. It is not village people. It is not one cause or the other. It is just because you have not seen it as an issue that you need to start tracking your money, tracking how you make and spend money. Because just like some people will say, it is not in how much you make, it is in how much you keep. That is the way wealth is built. And I need to say this, God hates wastage. Why do I know that God hates wastage? In the book of John, chapter 6, if you read from verse 12 to 13, after Jesus fed the 5,000, and the Bible made us to understand that they had excesses. And eventually in verse 12, he told them in verse 7, he said, so when they were filled, he said to his disciples, gather up the fragments that remain, so that nothing is lost. Which means God himself frowns at wastage. Don't say because you are making money. But if you are not managing this money, if you are just like a basket, that money is just coming in and it's just going through, it's just the same way it's coming in, the same way it's going out. You can't even account for how you spend your money. Then you are not doing so well. You need to understand that there are needs, there are wants, and there are desires. Our major thing is needs. Then we can move to wants, then desires. But all these things must be well accounted for. Don't forget that we are keepers. So I want to talk about what are the things that we waste money on. What are the things that people generally waste money on? They don't even pay attention to them. And you also may be wasting money on it. Because we have some people, they have income problem. You may not have income problem. What you may be having is what we call, is it a savings problem. You find it hard to save money just because you waste money. Because whoever is a waster will definitely not be a saver. You will not be a saver. We heard of the story of this man called Mike Tyson, who made over $350,000 in his boxing career. But at the end, he had to file for bankruptcy. It wasn't making money that was his challenge. It was the aspect of managing money, not knowing how to keep money. He was just wasting it. And whether you like it or not, a time will come, whether it's either you retire or you resign. It's either you retire, and that point is coming. And that's why you need to be futuristic, even if not for anything. You don't just think about now. You need to be intentional about your spending, about the way you live your life financially. Because what many people pray about is just common sense that God has given to you to address. It's just common sense. The common sense to manage money, the wisdom to manage money, to manage resources. So you too can do the same exercise just like I did. Go through your bank statements, even if it's possible, for 3 months. I did my own. It was for 1 year. Then I saw that I was wasting money. So it's not as if I've not been there. I'm talking from experience. So we are not just talking theory, but how can it translate to practical? So in verse 13, the Bible says, therefore they gathered them up and filled 12 baskets with fragments of the 5 barley loaves which were left over by those who had eaten. The Bible says 12 baskets. You never know that you are wasting 12 baskets if you don't gather them. And if you don't go through your bank statement, there's no way you will know. If you are not taking accounts, there's no way you will know. You will just be wasting 12 baskets. Imagine If Jesus had not told them to gather up the fragments, and eventually after gathering it up, they saw that they have 12 baskets. But had it been, it was scattered about, just like you waste money. You give this one 2,000 naira, you buy that one 5,000 naira, and eventually it is all those small money that you call small that would have become something big. Just like a man of God used to say that some people's houses, some people's real estate, some people's stocks are in their wardrobe. You think you are buying clothes, but you have bought your tomorrow. And he who wears tomorrow's clothes today will eventually walk naked tomorrow. If you eat tomorrow's food today, you will be hungry tomorrow. And that's why you need to prevent such. So let's quickly look at some of those things we waste money on. We have 3 M's of money, which is making money, managing money, then multiplying money. So number 1 is spending to impress. You don't need to spend to impress, especially as a Christian. You don't need it. Just be who you are. Don't spend to impress. Who is looking at you? We have not even been called to that kind of life. We have not been called to that kind of life. The kind of life to impress others. The Bible says they're comparing themselves with themselves. They are not wise. Who are you comparing yourself with? Who are you trying to compete with? We have not been called to that kind of life. Number 2 is buying on impulse. Something you never planned for, something that you never budgeted for, you just saw it and you bought it. So every time you see that, you see something, maybe you just went to the market and you see a green shoe and you said, no, I have green bag, I have to buy. The question is, was it in your budget before you bought it? Was it in your budget? Did you plan for it? Or maybe they brought something to your office, or you went for window shopping. How to cut out those ones is to make sure that you plan your spending. Plan your spending. Don't spend to impress. Number 3 is peer pressure to spend. Others are doing it. You too, you want to do it. No. It is uncalled for. It is unnecessary. Just because your peers are doing it. And this does not only happen to youth or teenagers. It happens to even older people, to adults. You see some parents mounting pressure on their children just because maybe their friends' children are doing the same thing for them, forgetting that it is called personal finance. It is personal. Your finance should be personal to you. So don't be put under the yoke of peer pressure to spend. No. Then 4, lack of financial discipline. Discipline yourself financially. And I'm talking from experience. I was once found in all this, guilty of all this. Guilty. Impulse buying, spending to impress, that may not be much with me. But maybe before I gave my life to Christ. But after I gave my life to Christ, instead spending to impress was not my issue. But buying on impulse, I bought on impulse. Online shopping, I bought on impulse. Junior, I bought on impulse. Peer pressure to spend. Maybe before I gave my life to Christ. But after I gave my life to Christ, it wasn't an issue. Then, lack of financial discipline. You don't have financial discipline. That should not be. You should be able to discipline yourself. The Bible says in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24 to 27. 1 Corinthians 9, 24 to 27. The Bible says, an athlete is temperate in all things. He who wants to be a master in anything will be temperate. You need to be temperate in all things, including finance. I hope you understand. You need to be temperate in all things, including finance. Then the last but not the least is emotional spending. You'll spend based on your emotions. You just feel like spending. You just feel like, and eventually before you know it, 100K is gone. Before you know it, 50K is gone. Be disciplined. Don't be led by the dictates of your emotions. So these are just 5 out of many that makes people to waste money. So go through your bank statement, just like I said. Go through it. You can choose a weekend, a Saturday, choose a weekend, and just go through it. And before you know it, you may start improving your finance. So everything is not village people. At times, you may be the one affecting your own finance, because even God hates wastage. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, kindly do by clicking on the subscribe button. Click on the notification bell so you can be notified whenever we release a new video. So we meet in our next video. Stay blessed.